This desk is actually such a mess right now. I can't even see my Celsius. Hopefully that doesn't mean it's like knocked over or something. Ah! There it is. My fantasy league, oh my gosh, I sucked absolute ass. They added more teams to the playoffs and I still didn't make it. Okay, I'm not gonna be bitter about this. I might be. Hi friends, welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to give you seasonal book recommendations. If you know me, something I'm very big on is reading books in the season that I feel that they should be read. Sometimes it's very obvious that it's a summer book or a fall book. Sometimes it's just kind of the vibe. But today I thought I would share with you a couple of books for each season that I think should be read in that season or would be fun to read in that season. I didn't include any fantasy because I think all fantasy is fall and winter. You should read them all the time, but I just feel like all fantasies give that vibe. All right, we're gonna do spring, summer, autumn, winter. So, first for spring, we have Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. This is definitely more of a vibe than it needs to like be read in this. I think also like the cover, like if you look close, there's like a bunch of little flowers and plants, and it's a pink and it's got trees on it. It does have a cabin in the woods, which kind of gives autumn, but I feel like one of the main events happens in the spring. So I have decided that it is a spring book. So this is about Macy and Elliot, and they were high school sweethearts, and they broke up, and we don't know why, but years later, they run into each other. They haven't spoken in years, or rather, she hasn't spoken to him in years. And he doesn't seem to understand why. So it's a dual timeline book. Next spring read is Reminders of Him by Colleen Hoover. Oh, it's so good. I think this book is spring to me because spring is like fresh starts, you know? And this is just a whole book about second chances and fresh starts. And it's very, very good. It's about a girl who gets out of prison after 5 years after a tragic mistake, and she wants to reconnect with her 4-year-old. And the only person who hasn't completely turned his back on her is Ledger Ward, bar owner, and her kid's godfather because he was friends with the baby daddy. Next, we have The Love Hypothesis for spring. This one is about, I don't want to say student professor because technically it's not, right? But they fake date because she just kind of wants to prove to her friends that she's not like antisocial and that her life's fine. And he wants to set down roots so that the university doesn't pull his grant because they're suspicious that he's going to move to Harvard. Which he is. Next, we have By a Thread by Lucy Score. It's pink. And that's very spring of it, don't you think? But this is about a boss and an employee, basically. He gets her fired from one of her jobs, which was waitressing. And then the mom is like, that was ridiculous. Hey, honey, come work at our company. And she does. And then he's her boss, but they can't deny their attraction. The spring is a vibe, not really a setting. Next is Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. This one is the definition of a fresh start story. So that's why it's in here. Naomi is a runaway bride who goes to rescue her twin sister, but the sister has fled town and left behind her 11-year-old daughter. And Naomi didn't even know she had a niece. So she's creating this fresh start, but she also now has basically an adoptive daughter that she's taking care of. And she meets Knox, and love ensues. Last for spring recommendations is Flawless by Elsie Silver. Take a shot every time I recommend an Elsie Silver book. You'll take a shot once a week, maybe. But, oh my gosh, this book is so good. This is about Rhett, who gets into this PR disaster, and Summer is his agent's daughter, who is basically babysitting him to make sure that he gets his shit together and doesn't play bad boy rodeo guy again. He's a bull rider. Did I say that? Is that what it's called? Bull riding? Bull riding? Bull rider? Bull rider. Yay! Okay, moving on to summer. This one might just be summer vibes because I read it in summer, but this is Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. This book, you either love it or you hate it, from what I've seen. I'm kind of in the middle. Like, as I read it, I loved it, and now looking back, I'm like, that was kind of weird. But I mean, now that I've read the book, this doesn't give fun summer anymore, but it gave summer. It water. Oh, Lord. Okay. Anyways, but it's about this girl named Kate who is a nurse and develops a crush on her brother's best friend, who's a pilot, and they basically become like a friends with benefits in secret situation because he's like, I am never falling in love. He hasn't slept with anyone since his last girlfriend, which was in high school. And it's kind of it is dual POV. It's Tate's POV and then like a poetry POV almost. Oh, brother. Colleen. Next summer rec is Heartbones by Colleen Hoover. This one actually takes place in the summer and is about a summer fling. So this is a very good summer read. This is about Bea, who comes from a household so her parents are divorced, right? She lives with her mom, but her mom is a drug addict and overdoses, and so she decides to go move in with her dad, who's super duper rich, and she meets a boy named Samson, and they have a summer fling, and it is just such a good read. It's very small, it's a very quick read, but it's just, look at that fun cover. Beach read, obviously. Does this even take place in the summer? This is about academic rivals from college, January and Gus, and they both have shit going on in their lives, and they become friends, and they make a bet that she's going to write his genre, which is literary fiction, and he's going to write her genre, which is romance, and just kind of see how that plays out. It happened one summer. This is about Piper and Brendan. Piper is a socialite from LA who is in his small fishing town to serve a sentence by her stepdad for being a party girl, I guess. And he is a local fisherman. And he is like, you're ruining my vibe. But then he's like, I like your vibe. Another Tessa Bailey, we have My Killer Vacation. I mean, just look at it. It's clearly a summer book. It's nice and short. It's about a girl who goes on a summer vacation. And she finds a murdered body in her rental house. And he is there to track down the killer, but she kind of gets caught in the crossfire because she discovered the body. Then we have We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. This is about a girl who goes on vacation with her extended family to their island every single year. Last year, she had an accident that she doesn't really remember, and she's been getting migraines, and her cousins and friends have not been responding to her. And so she goes back this year. I think she missed a year because of her accident injuries, but she's back this year and she wants answers. Last one for summer, we have The Book of Two Ways by Jodi Picoult. This is just so good. I might have to, why are you crusty dusty? Okay, I'm just going to read you the back because this is kind of complicated. Everything changes in a single moment for Dawn Edelstein. She's on a plane when the flight attendant makes announcements, prepare for crash landing. The shocking thing is that Dawn's final thoughts are of the man she saw 15 years ago, Wyatt Armstrong. Back in Boston, there's her husband, Brian, their beloved daughter, and her work as a death doula. But somewhere in Egypt is Wyatt, who works as an archaeologist, a career Dawn once studied for but was forced to abandon. Dawn miraculously survives, and afterwards the airline offers the survivors transportation to wherever we want to go. The obvious option is to fly home, but she could take another path, return to the archaeological site she left years ago to reconnect with Wyatt, and maybe complete her research on the Book of Two Ways, the first known map of the afterlife. So the story unfolds in two timelines of like those two options. It's a very, very good read. I think I just say it's summer because Egypt's hot. Next we have fall. Autumn, if you will. You Again by Kate Goldbeck. Look at it. I've never seen a more autumn book in my life. This is about two people who kind of meet randomly 3 or 4 times, and then that last time they're both coming out of really bad relationships, career issues, like they're both kind of low, and so they become friends with no benefits, and then they start kind of connecting more. It's a play on When Harry Met Sally. November 9th, obviously, is in November, so this is an autumn one. This is about Fallon and Ben, who meet on November 9th, and it's the night before, or the day before her flight to live in New York rather than in LA. So they like spend the day together and then decide that they're going to meet up every year on November 9th. Every single chapter of this book happens on November 9th. Very cool little plot. Next we have The Secret History by Donna Tartt. This is a very dark academia book. This summary doesn't really explain what's happening. There is a group of college students at this college who study, oh my gosh, what are they studying and what? Oh, philosophy? Greek. Okay, I thought that. Okay. It's a small college, and there's an elite group of students under a very charismatic professor, and they study Greek mythology, the language, very, very in depth. And everybody's kind of, it's almost culty, like this little group that the main character joins, and it leads to corruption, betrayal, and evil. And it's a very good read. This just feels like how Gone Girl feels like a classic to me. This feels like a classic. It's beautifully written. It's kind of hard to get through at times, in my opinion, but it gives Great Gatsby meets Gone Girl meets Dark Academia. Verity by Colleen Hoover is our next autumn recommendation. Man, her covers really hit different after you've read the book. This is about a girl named Lowen who's an author, and she gets an offer. She gets an offer from Verity Crawford's husband to ghostwrite the rest of her book series. She was in an accident and she can't finish writing it. The husband hires Lowen and she goes and stays at their house for a while to go through Verity's desk and her notes and kind of get all the information that she needs to finish the series. And she discovers a manuscript, an autobiographical manuscript about Verity's life, and it's horrifying. So it's kind of dual POV because it's her now and then you get like the actual manuscript in here. It is such a good book. Book Lovers by Emily Henry. This takes place in North Carolina. Sunshine Falls, North Carolina. I picture this as Blowing Rock. I can't remember if that's because Emily Henry said it was based on Blowing Rock or... This is about Nora and Charlie. Nora is a hardworking literary agent who is going to Sunshine Falls, North Carolina for a month because her sister is basically like begging her, like, let's go on a girls trip. I want to spend time with you. Let's go to this adorable little town that I found online. Charlie is her academic rival from New York, where she lives. And they've never really they haven't like not gotten along, but they haven't gotten along either because they are always competing for the same things. And she runs into him there because it's his hometown. His family lives there and he is there working in his family's bookstore to kind of help get it like back from financial ruin. The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is a series about a girl who randomly gets left a fortune by a billionaire, and it requires her to live in his mansion with the rest of his family who she just screwed over by getting the whole inheritance. And there's just like a bunch of puzzles and secret doors, and the oldest, hottest brother thinks that she's a scam artist. It's very good. It's the beginning of a trilogy. The Cartographers by Peng Shepherd. This is another dark academia book. It's about Nell, who is a cartographer until her career is completely ruined by her father. But then he's murdered. And a map that she knows of his, that was the reason he fired her, is key to the murder. Last autumn recommendation is Do Your Worst by Rosie Dannon. This is about Riley and Clark. Riley is a curse breaker and Clark is an archaeologist. So he's looking for redemption because of a career issue. She's looking to be taken seriously as a curse breaker so that she can make it like a more permanent like job for herself. And they end up working together, and there's attraction there, even though he says that she's a liar and a scam artist. Lastly, we have winter recommendations. 9 Lives by Peter Swanson. This is about 9 strangers who get a list in the mail of 9 names, including their own. And then one of the people with the letter is found murdered. And then they start dropping one by one. And Jessica Winslow has to find the culprit. 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is about a reclusive old Hollywood star who has had 7 husbands, and she calls up this random author and is like, hey, I'm going to give you the tell-all so you can write a biography about me because I'm probably going to die soon. And it is so good. It is so good. It just gives like, oh, why is this? I have a bookmark in here, but I finished the book. I finished it in one day, actually. It's so good. Oh, maybe that's where I stopped reading last and I finished it. Anyways, old Hollywood. I don't know why. It's just kind of a cozy read. Like, it's cozy and like scandalous. I love it. Then we have With Love from Cold World. My most recent read, actually. It's about Asa and Lauren. They both work at a theme park called Cold World that's basically like snow themed. He's just kind of a free spirit, just always having fun, always dyeing his hair fun colors, and she is kind of like a by the book, kind of uptight person, and sparks fly because they are told by their boss to work together to come up with a plan to increase revenue and ticket sales. Okay, I did say no fantasy, but I do feel like Six of Crows is a very winter fantasy. There's a lot of snow in it, and I also just think, like, when I think winter, I think like really cozying up with hot cocoa. What kind of book would I be wanting to read? And Six of Crows definitely fits the bill. All right. Oh heavens. Okay, don't judge me. This is what my floor looks like after I film one of these videos. And there's also books all around here. That's a mess. I need to clean up. But I hope that you liked today's video. I hope you got some inspiration for books to read for specific seasons, and I will see you tomorrow.